All right. Hey, y'all. Hey, hey, hey. It's 11 o'clock where I am. I don't know where y'all at, but it's 11 o'clock. And as I promised, I was gonna come in here today and talk about this mini grant. So the Be Worth Funding mini grant, y'all. Come on in. Come on in the room if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, come on in because I can answer a couple of questions for you. Um, I wanted to take the first few minutes though, and I know you guys are waiting to see who won the grant. We have a few winners, and I'm going to save that to the end. But just in case you don't know me, hey y'all, I'm Ty Boone. I'm owner of Ty Boone Enterprises. I am been in this business for a long time, a little bit more than 25 years now. I ain't gonna tell y'all how old I am. I have, with my team, been responsible for managing, attracting, securing more than $400 million in grant funding. Um, Tybo Enterprises decided, I guess, a few months ago, after the Be Worth Funding book was released, that we would do a Be Worth Funding mini grant. And the whole thing behind this grant was that you're going to come in here, you're going to tell me why your organization was worth funding. You would give me your mission, and then we'd pick some winners, right? Of course, a bunch of people apply for this grant. You know, I was initially asking for 40 applicants. That's what my goal was: 40 applicants for this grant. We ended up with almost 400 people applying for this grant, and I'm gonna tell y'all how this works because I thought this would be a great opportunity to teach a little bit about grants and grant making and how the whole thing works, right? Because y'all, some of y'all are coming from me. I would show y'all my emails. I would show y'all my emails. Some of y'all are coming from me about this grant, like Ty, why I didn't get the grant, why y'all don't like people and all this kind of stuff. I wanted to remind you in this grant application that it's not just about whether or not what you do makes you deserving of funding, but is your organization worthy of funding? And also add that not everybody who is even worthy of funding is going to get funding because grants are competitive. It's a competitive situation out here. You're talking about 400 applicants in our little mini grant. Think about grant opportunities that have a bigger following, that more people are engaged with, that more people are going to apply for. You're taking your chances, right? But let's talk a little bit about the Be Worth Funding grant. Hey Tazor, yeah, girl, I got your shirt, girl. Yeah, and that's what I do. I do things like that. If y'all got comments, y'all put them over here. But anyway, um, so the grant itself, just wanted to know whether or not you were worth funding. You didn't have to get my book to know this. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it. I actually ended up having to recuse myself from review because that makes sense, right? I'm a grant reviewer as well as a grant writer. And I know that I can't have relationships or be affiliated with people who submit grants. And almost all of you knew me, right? So I couldn't be a grant reviewer. But I did have a grant review team that consisted of 4 individuals who reviewed your grants from top to bottom. Okay. They provided the feedback. Some of them, after the awards were made, I went and looked and see what you guys did, but mostly I just kind of got feedback from the reviewers. So I'm going to share that with you, and I hope that you will take that not just for this grant, but take them on to the next grant, right? So the biggest question in this grant was your mission, right? I wanted to know what it is that you do. Who do you serve? How do you serve them? And what difference or impact do you make? That's what a mission is. A mission is what you are doing right now. And if you watch me at any point, you see that I always say that a mission is what you're doing right now. Vision is what you do at some point in the future. You would be surprised at how many visions we got. And it's okay. You're supposed to have a vision, but that's not what we were asking for. This is a mini grant. This is a small grant. It awarded between 250 and $1,000 to those people who won the grant. And what we wanted to know is what you're gonna do with our money now, today. We don't know. We don't want to know what you're trying to do, trying to build houses in the future, because $1,000 is not going to build you a house, right? So we wanted you to be able to keep that into perspective, understanding what it is that you do now. We also want one of the major questions, and this is where the reviewers weighted more heavily, is what would you do with the funding, right? Again, y'all take this back into your other grant applications as well. What are you going to do with the funding? Think about the fact that we're awarding between 250 and $1,000. We're not asking you what you would do if you got $1 million. We're asking you what would you do if you got between 250 and $1,000, because we want to know that no matter how small Our gift is that you're going to be doing something that makes a difference, right? We got for those people who were denied, and again, don't y'all feel bad. Sometimes y'all, this is just how this works. Doesn't mean that your application was horrible. Sometimes it just means that you did address the questions the way that they should have been addressed. And this is why I'm using this as a teaching moment so that you could know how to proceed next time, whether it's my grant or anybody else's grant. Okay. Um, when you're asking the question, what would you do with this funding? And I'm giving you $250 to $1,000. I want to see that you're doing something that works within $250 to $1,000. So if you're going to say, for example, that you are, buying a car and you're paying for a mentor and you're paying for a workbook and you're paying for honorarium, all with $1,000, I can't believe it, right? My reviewer can't believe it, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like, how can they do all this with $1,000? How are we going to know that this works with $1,000?" But if you're saying, you know what, we're going to use a little of this to help pay the mentor to come and mentor the class. It's just one little piece of his support or his compensation that we're going to give to them. And because this program requires a mentor, that makes sense to me that we're going to help support this mentor with this $1,000. Or if you're saying something like, we're going to use this for gas stipends, that makes sense. You got to go over here and you got to pay for gas, right? For me, impact would be getting over there to pay for the gas, facilitating the program that you have to facilitate, and whatever the results are as a result of that program, right? So it doesn't have to be so narrow that you're thinking, and I know a lot of you guys are thinking that you had to come in big with it. You had to say things like, if I'm going to create impact, I'm going to have to buy housing. No. What if you bought vouchers for housing with the $1,000? Because that makes more sense than actually buying the house, because you can't buy the house, right? Hey, we will. All right. The other thing, so your mission, who you are, who you serve, how you serve them, what difference are you making now? Most of you did pretty good right there until you got into your vision. And this is from the reviewers. Most of you started out with, hey, this is what we do, this is how we do it. And then you went all left talking about these things that you're not doing or that you can't do right now. That's not a mission, that is a vision. So keep it together, okay? I already said how your funds will be used, so it had to be something that makes sense against between $250 and $1,000. If it was something that was outside of the scope of what we're giving, then they just denied it. If you're saying something that was too big for $1,000, or where we could not see where the $1,000 contributed to the thing that you're doing and actually made a difference in this contribution, you were denied, right? Again, you might have done something, for example, and said, hey, we're supporting veterans, for example. That's an example. And something good might be, we're going to provide food for the veterans, because one of the problems that we solved, because you had this all in your information and in your video, because one of the problems that we solved is that, veterans are without food. I'm just kind of making that up, right? So I know that if this $1,000 supports the food, then you're gonna feed more veterans. You're gonna be able to add that food to your service numbers in your demographics of serving the veterans. You're gonna be able to create an impact. You're gonna be able to measure it. So it goes beyond what you have on the paper, especially when you're dealing with somebody like me and my team. We digging real deep, right? We're trying to figure out, how is this going to be impactful? Instead of you're saying, well, you know what, we're gonna buy a house with this $1,000. That's not gonna help. If you said it's going to go toward their rent, that might help, or go toward their housing. But then give me a little bit more about what you're going to be doing in your program, which I would have seen in your video, that supports this $1,000 going toward the housing. Okay. Which leads me to the video. I ain't here to stay all day. I'm going to announce the winners in a minute. Your video. A lot of y'all, man, have really great videos, but they were too long. We asked you for less than 2 minutes. So for the most part, if you sent a video that was over 2 minutes, you either got rejected immediately, or the reviewer is just like, this video is too long. The video says, in less than 2 minutes, tell me why you're worth funding. And you're actually supposed to tell us. Another reason why videos got scored low is because instead of telling us why your organization is worth funding, a lot of you guys created little slideshows, and you had to read them. We couldn't even like the show didn't even read itself. It just showed little images of things and no voices behind it. So we didn't know why you were worth funded. And we had to actually look at the slides to see that was not what the requirements were. You're supposed to tell us why you're worth funded. Some of you guys brought in things that were not direct answers to the questions. Like you brought in news clips and you brought in just footage from your organization, but didn't say anything. So you didn't answer the question, right? If you didn't answer the question why you were funded, then you were not funded because that was a part of the requirements. Tell us why your organization is worth funded. Some of you kind of started out, saying, "Hey, our organization is worth funding because," and then I didn't hear anything else. Then you just had a whole lot of pictures. That's not it. I want to know what makes your organization worthy of the funds. Okay. Um, Following instructions. And again, this is not just for me. This is not just for Be Worth funding, but following instructions. If you're ever going to be able to compete at a high level for grants, you got to know how to follow instructions. And I'm telling y'all, we had 400 applicants, but think about organizations like Chick-fil-A who have 1,500 applicants, or folk that got 2,000 applicants, and you ain't following instructions. You're the first one to go. We ain't even looking at it because we don't have time or the capacity to look and say, "Oh, did you follow instructions?" Nobody's going to follow up with you and say, "Hey, oh, you didn't do this correctly. You got to follow instructions. Can you resubmit?" Not in these kind of situations because it's competitive. We're looking for winners. And if you can't follow instructions, and this is what, from a grant reviewer's perspective, because in addition to writing grants, I also review grants for foundations and other organizations. From a grant reviewer's perspective, if you do not follow instructions in the application, I don't trust you to follow instructions with the money and to utilize the money like we intend you to use them. So you want to make sure that you are always following instructions. A lot of your going back to your videos, a lot of your videos really showed that your organizations were deserving, right? If you read my book, you know what I mean when I say deserving versus worthy. We're looking for worthy organizations, not so much deserving organizations, because I believe that every population is deserving. If you serve veterans, if you serve the homeless, if you serve kids, if you serve cats, if you serve dogs, I believe that you are deserving, or the people that you serve are deserving. Nobody deserves to be homeless, right? But is your organization worthy of the funds that you seek? Meaning that can I determine from your video, because this is where we kind of got into that whole worthiness piece. Your video, when you're saying my organization is worthy because, can I determine from your video that you're just not some average veteran service organization? Are you doing something that sets you apart from these other organizations that are doing the same thing? Everybody, and now what the mix looked like, right? We had a whole bunch of youth development organizations, a bunch. This is out of 400. We had a whole lot of domestic violence organizations, right? We had when I say a bunch, I'm saying more than, we had a whole bunch, right? We had a whole bunch of veteran service organizations. What else? Yeah, those were the leading ones, right? What made your organization so different from everybody else's? What made you so much more worthy than everybody else, right? That's what we were looking for in your video. Okay, so I know you didn't come here. Y'all can ask me some questions about the process, and you can ask me some questions about mini grants or whatever, because this is what this was. This was a mini grant opportunity. First and foremost, everybody should understand that grants are not guaranteed. Do y'all believe? Ask April. She's in here. Do y'all believe? Folk were like, I thought I was getting hate mail. Like, why you ain't pick us? Why my organization not worthy of funding? Why you don't like these people? Why you don't like that? That's not how you handle this situation. Okay. Just some tips. Okay. If you're going into grant situations and you're going to be applying for grants for your organization, there's a way to handle the process. Okay, I was getting emails. I'm talking about not emails that said, can I see what I scored or whatever. Emails that were saying, this is garbage. Like why did I not get funded? Maybe you don't like this kind of organization. Maybe y'all would do better next time and choose organizations like mine. We don't want that. Okay. I have a little tough skin. Like I said, I review grants anyway, so that's not a big deal. But I want to just kind of inform you guys how to handle situations when you are, wanting an award and you don't get the award. You're not going to win them all. Chances are, and I know you've seen this on the streets, your chances are 1 in 10 that you win grants. So you want to make sure that you diversify your funding methods, that you're not so dependent on getting a grant approved that you can't do the work if you don't get the grant, right? There's several ways that you can fund your organization. Grants just happen to be one of them. And it's also the one that you can't control because somebody on the other end, no matter how great your organization was, no matter how great your video is, there's somebody on the other end making these decisions, right? So you want to make sure you're doing other things in your organization that brings in revenue so that you don't, stroke out when you don't get a $250 mini grant that is no big deal, that to keep going to the next thing, right? So I want you guys to know that first. Secondly, if you've gotten a rejection and you want to know why you were rejected, if the funder did not say that you can't reach out to them, reach out to them and ask them for some advice. Ask them for their suggestions on how to make your grant application better. Ask them what the reviewers consensus was around your grant, so maybe you can get some feedback so you can do better next time, whether it's for their grant or another grant, right? But you do not threaten the funder. You do not want to sue the funder because it's their money and they can do what they want to do with it, right? But that's what you do to be better. You can also ask them, hey, if you're not already following me, please follow me so you can learn more about my organization. I would love for you to learn more about what we do. That kind of thing makes you a friend. So when the next time come, even though friends have to recuse themselves, like I had to recuse myself from your application, you'll be the first to know. Now, hey, there's a new opportunity coming out. Maybe you want to jump in on that one. And if push comes to shove, and I'm from Alabama, I say things like push comes to shove. If there's a tiebreaker, but sometimes the funders will come in and give their opinion so they can make the process better, and maybe you can get awarded the grant. But okay, I'm gonna go over here. Y'all don't have any questions? I'm ready to announce the winners. I don't know if I have a drum roll or what's going on. Whatever. I'm gonna clap my hand drummers. Here are the winners of the 2024 BWF Funding Mini Grant. I don't know. I think I'm gonna do this annually. I may. We may do this annually. May do a little bit more. I have to think about it. Y'all see my t-shirt? Y'all can go to my store. Go to my store. Go to beworthfunding.store and get your sweatshirt. Anyway, so here we go. I'm gonna go with the lower winners first. We ended up giving away 9 grants, right? The grants were made possible by Tybo Enterprises. That's me and what I do. Our strategic partners at Urban Awareness USA, who are just great. I'm talking about really awesome. And our friend, my book's godmama is what I call her, and what she calls herself. My book's godmama, Shay Bonds, the founder of Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur. So her contribution also helped to make these grants possible. All right. So here we go. Starting with the bottom, we have Miss Jessica Gibson at Just Do It Movement. Her organization works with the homeless and formerly incarcerated. So she's getting folk who are incarcerated who can't find anywhere to stay. She's helping them to find places to stay. I loved her video. Once I went back and looked at all these winners in their videos, I loved her video. I love the fact that she brought in her population, like people from her audience, to help with this video. It was really great, innovative. That was one of the things that the reviewer was talking about. They're like, you know what, this is boring. Like some of them said the video is boring. We like to see people engage their audience in their videos. And I loved her video. So $250 to Just Do It Movement. Then we have Janelle Bell. So we got Miss Jessica at $250. We got Miss Janelle Bell at Shop Bob Cares. Janelle Bell at Shop Bob Cares. They work with youth, young adults, and businesses. Again, her video also got really high points. Her organization does like business, shop black businesses and pop-ups, and she's teaching young people how to be entrepreneurs, but she's also working with businesses, other businesses, to stabilize them. So yep, love that. Again, the innovation behind the video is what got her the most points, but we definitely loved her mission, and love what she's going to do with the money. All right, we have, and I may mispronounce this name because, just because I got a little education, but sometimes I'm acting like TC. This is C. Andres Jackson of Be Great Foundation. $250. She works with teens and young adults between the ages of 10 and 17, and young adults from 16 to 24, just with really empowering them. And I know I don't like to use that word a lot, but really empowering them to do better, to be great. And the way that she was able to communicate that, the be great with the mission and the video, is what earned her this award. We have Miss Norma Noble at On Track Education with $250. Miss Norma Noble does education for preschool and like daycare centers. She works with the Montessori curriculum, and she actually teaches these kids who are not reading in preschool how to read and how to be beyond whatever. Another very, very innovative video. Y'all should see the video. Like, it's like something way different that I would have never imagined. Creating the video in that way to communicate what this organization was about. But $250 to Miss Norma Noble and On Track Education. Then we have Connie Rodriguez. Connie Rodriguez of the Waterfall Academy. They work with youth with disabilities. Again, just a really great approach to their mission. $250 to the Waterfall Academy, and the links are being posted over there. So y'all follow these organizations. Then we have Willie Price. Now, my reviewers were going crazy over Mr. Price's video. They thought that was the best thing they've ever seen ever. He's working with youth in obesity. So he's reducing obesity among youth. They are at a Better You Lifestyle Incorporated. Y'all can follow Mr. Price. Also awarded $250. And then we have the last $250 award, and then we'll go to the other ones. The last $250 award goes to Vincent Canfora, and I hope that I say that correct, of the Heart of Stroke Foundation, the Heart of Stroke Foundation. They are working with children ages 10 to 18, and they're doing recreation and life skills and mentoring through skateboarding. So again, something that was very, very different. The reviewers happen to like that. And you can see, most of these were kind of youth driven or had something to do with youth, except for Miss Gibson, it looks like. But most of the applications were also there. And my team, we were not ones to say, okay, we gave something to youth, so now we got to give something to veterans. Not like that. What we wanted to see was that you were doing something, and you were able to follow instructions, and that your video made sense. And again, these questions that we had, how you use the funds, if they made sense, that you were able to express mission versus vision, and that made sense regardless of where your area of focus was. Okay, now we're moving up to the $500 award. So we had those 250 awards. We have one award for $500, and we have one award for $1,000, right? So our $500 award goes to We Will Through Sports. Miss Mary Wood is the CEO of We Will Through Sports. Their video was off the chain, serious business, right? Very innovative. I was laughing when I went back to look at this video. I was like, yeah, Miss Mary Wood, I got you. I see this, right? They do mentorship through basketball, so they're teaching the fundamentals of basketball, but at the same time mentoring kids, mentoring youth, creating a positive outcome among the youth in their community, right? $500 to Miss Mary Wood's organization. And then we have, lastly, what happened to the drum rolls? Did y'all stop clapping your hands for your friends and stuff? Lastly, we have Mad Music and Dance. Mad Music and Dance with the $1,000 award to Brittany Boyd, and there was another one. I think they're co-founders, but Brittany Boyd is who submitted the application, and you got it, $1,000. for your music and dance program. What stood out the most about their video was also great, but then they took it to social media, and even though that was not a major requirement, they got some bonus points for it's like, oh my god, for submitting the video and then also sharing it, themselves. One part of the application, toward the bottom of the application, Brian Boyd is the co-founder. It asked questions, right? It said, are you willing to share this on social media? Be sure to share this on social media, whatever. And they did. A lot of you guys did not, right? Again, it wasn't. We didn't say you're required to do it, but it gave them some. It pushed them over. It was between Miss Marywood and Brittany Board. That pushed them over, and so they got $1,000. Um, a tip: when you're asked for things in your grant application, when it says optional, and this one said, hey, you can share it on social media, or you don't have to share it on social media, something like that. I encourage you to share, to do it, right? If they're saying, to give us some random stuff, to help your application, I suggest giving things about your program, things about your mission that will help to make the decision. Um, Things to clarify where you're going with your organization, but never give them anything that will raise a red flag, things that they totally did not ask for. But anyway, that's it. I just wanted to share who the winners were for the Be Worth Fund and Mini Grant. I think you all did an excellent job. There were 400 of you guys. So yeah, I mean, you did really well. Some of you guys, it's your first time applying for a grant, so you were a little bit nervous, right? Some of you guys just kind of overread the questions a little bit, like, okay, let me give them some more. I'm taboo. You don't have to say much, right? You don't have to do that. You want to be straightforward with your missions. We want to know who you are, who you serve, how you serve them, and what difference you make. Going back to these questions where you were weighted more heavily, how will funds be used? So we want to make sure that whatever we give you, you're able to utilize it in that space, right? That you're okay. We can give you $1,000, so we know you're gonna pay $1,000 for gas cards, and you're gonna get the gas cards done, right? We know you're gonna pay for this mentor, and you're gonna get this done. But when you have too much going on, or you're walking into your vision with the mini grant money, it makes it real hard and unclear to understand how this money is going to make a difference. The innovation behind the videos, the most innovative videos are the ones that show up on this list. And that's it. That's all I got. Y'all got some questions? Y'all got questions? Were any of the winners? I see Will and Mad are present. Y'all got questions? All right. If y'all ain't got no questions, I'm going on go. Y'all good? All right. Thank you for coming out. God bless you. Good night. That was Russell Simmons.